All right, let's talk about something we've all seen, something that's just a part of our digital world now, online negativity. We're going to do a deep dive into the psychology of why people become haters and trolls.
Seriously, have you ever scrolled through a comment section and just thought, what is going on in that person's head? It seems like it's everywhere, but the reasons, well, they go way beyond just someone being mean. They actually get to the very core of how our minds work.
And this isn't some new internet thing. The famous psychologist Carl Jung pointed this out a long time ago. He basically said that this whole song and dance of attacking each other is a fundamental part of our nature, and it's mostly about avoiding a hard look at ourselves. So let's get into it.
Okay, so to really understand a hater, we first have to talk about this fascinating concept from Jung. He called it the shadow, and believe me, this is the key to the whole puzzle.
So, what is it? Think of the shadow as, like, your personal blind spot. It's all the stuff about ourselves that we don't like. The insecurities, the jealousy, the petty impulses, the things we feel weak or ashamed about. It's everything we try to shove down and hide, not just from other people, but even from ourselves. It's kind of like this. You've got your ego, right? That's the face you show the world. It's who you think you are. And then there's the shadow. That's everything you've pushed down into the basement of your mind. It's not all evil, by the way, but it's definitely the stuff we just don't want to admit is a part of us.
And Jung was not kidding around when he said this. Actually recognizing our own capacity for envy, or rage, or real cruelty, that is an incredibly painful thing to do. And most of us, honestly, will do just about anything to avoid that kind of self-awareness. It's a defense mechanism, pure and simple.
Exactly. That's the real question, isn't it? It's one thing to have a shadow, we all do, but it's a whole other thing to turn it into a weapon and aim it at a total stranger on the internet. So how does that inner darkness become outer aggression? Well, it happens through a really crucial psychological trick.
The answer is a defense mechanism that pretty much all of us use sometimes. It's called projection. But for the hater or the troll, it's not just something they do occasionally, it becomes a whole way of life.
The movie projector analogy is perfect. Instead of dealing with our own flaws, our own insecurities, our own inner monsters, we just project them onto somebody else. We put them up on their screen. That way, we get to attack those flaws out there without ever having to face that they're in here. It's a really clever trick our unconscious mind plays on us.
And the process is almost always the same. First, you deny something in yourself. Let's say you secretly feel incompetent. Then you unconsciously spot that exact same thing in someone else. And finally, you attack them for it, viciously. You're really attacking the part of yourself you just can't stand to look at.
But wait, there's more. There's another, even deeper layer to this that explains why so many online arguments feel so irrational and self-righteous. And this is where Jung's work gets really interesting. So Jung argued that we all have what he called a contrasexual side to our psyche. And when these inner archetypes are unconscious, when we haven't dealt with them, they can literally take over. They can possess us. And when that happens, our arguments aren't driven by logic anymore. They're driven by moods, opinions, and raw emotion. Have you ever seen an online argument where someone's logic just completely collapses and they start resorting to these vague emotional attacks and just seem really personally wounded by everything? Jung called that being anima possessed. The debate is no longer about facts. It's all about their hurt feelings and wounded vanity. And here's the flip side. When a person is ridden by the animus, as Jung put it, they argue from a place of absolute, unshakable, know-it-all opinion. They'll often wrap their arguments in these big, abstract ideals like truth or justice. And at that point, it's not a conversation anymore. It's just a lecture from some inner voice that is completely, totally closed off to reason. So you see, the big takeaway here is that understanding trolls isn't really about them. It's about a universal human thing that we all do. We have this incredibly powerful desire to avoid looking at ourselves. Let's be honest, facing our shadow is work. It's hard work. It means you have to get over your own vanity and self-righteousness. Jung said that nature is conservative. It's just easier, it's more instinctual to point the finger and play this game of hate and love than to do the difficult, humbling work of looking inward. So, in the end, our strongest reactions to other people, both the good and the bad, are often just a mirror. They're reflecting back the parts of ourselves that we haven't confronted yet, the good parts we haven't owned, and the dark parts we haven't faced.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. In a world that is so obsessed with calling out the flaws in everyone else, maybe the most radical thing you can do is just quietly and honestly take a look at your own.